The Zephyrian fleet floated through the darkness between stars, their ships damaged and burning. Admiral Cathrak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Astral Dawn, watching the last images of his homeworld disappear into static. 47 ships. That was all that remained of his mighty fleet. The enemy had destroyed everything else. Cathrak touched the tactical display with his long alien fingers. Red dots filled the screen, showing enemy ships getting closer. The Vorath Dominion had been their enemy for centuries, but now the Vorath had new allies. The Shadowclaw Collective had joined them. Together they were too strong for the Zephyrians. "Admiral, we cannot fight them all," said his second officer to Ven, her voice tired from days of running and hiding. "Our weapons are damaged. Our shields are failing." Cathrak nodded slowly. He had lost so many good soldiers. His people were dying, but admirals do not give up. They find solutions. He turned to his sensor officer. "Scan for any inhabited systems. We need somewhere to hide, somewhere, to repair our ships." "Admiral," the sensor officer responded after a moment, "there is a system with one inhabited planet, but—" "Show me." The main screen changed to show a blue and green planet. It was beautiful, with white clouds swirling around it. But something was wrong with the energy readings. "This planet has primitive life," the sensor officer explained. "Their technology is very basic. Radio waves, simple rockets. They are not yet capable of faster-than-light travel." Cathrak knew the galactic law. Never contact a species before they reach the stars. Never interfere with their natural development. But his people were dying. His fleet was broken. He had to choose between following the law and saving his people. Meanwhile, on Earth, Captain Jake Morrison sat in the lunar monitoring base, watching screens filled with numbers and signals. The moon base was quiet at this hour. Most of the crew was asleep. Jake liked the night shift. It was peaceful up here, away from Earth's noise. "Captain," Lisa Park, his communications officer, called out suddenly. "We're getting something weird. Very weird." Jake walked over to her console. "What kind of weird?" "It's not like any signal we've seen before. It's definitely artificial. Someone made this. But it's not from Earth, and it's not from any of our satellites." Ben Cross, the chief analyst, looked up from his screen. "It's complex. Really complex. Like they're trying to tell us something." Jake's heart started beating faster. His whole life, he had wondered if humans were alone. Now maybe he had his answer. "Can you figure out what they're saying?" Lisa worked for hours, her fingers flying over the keyboard. Ben helped her, running programs to decode the signal. Slowly, patterns started to appear. Pictures, numbers, star maps. "Oh my God," Lisa whispered. "Jake, you need to see this." The screen showed a star map, but this map had more detail than anything humans had ever created. It showed systems they had never discovered. And there was a message, repeated over and over. "It's a distress call," Ben said, his voice amazed. "Someone out there is asking for help." Jake studied the data. The message included coordinates, tactical information, and something that looked like enemy positions. Whoever sent this was running from something. And they were losing. Back on the Astral Dawn, Cathrak waited. He had sent the message hours ago. Was anyone listening? Did these primitive beings even understand? "Admiral," the communications officer suddenly announced, "we're receiving a response." Everyone on the bridge turned to look. Cathrak felt hope for the first time in days. "Put it through." The response was simple, just a series of mathematical sequences and a single image. The image showed the blue planet with a small moon. Then numbers appeared. Coordinates. A meeting place. "They understood," Tiven said, amazement in her voice. "These primitives understood our message." Cathrak studied the data. The humans were suggesting a meeting in their asteroid belt between two of their planets. It was clever. Good cover from sensors. But could he trust them? They were so primitive. What help could they possibly offer? "Admiral," his tactical officer, warned, "the enemy will be here soon. We have maybe 2 days before they find us." 2 days. Not enough time to repair the fleet. Not enough time to find a better hiding place. Kathrak made his decision. Send a response. We accept their offer. Prepare 3 ships to meet them, but keep our weapons ready. We don't know if we can trust them. On Earth, Jake stared at the alien response on his screen. They had agreed to meet. Real aliens were coming to talk to humans. He felt excited and terrified at the same time. We need to tell someone, Lisa said. This is too big for us to handle alone. Jake nodded. But we need to be careful. We don't know who we can trust with this information. And we don't know if these aliens are friendly. Ben was already preparing a report. We should contact the defense network quietly. Let them decide how to handle this. Jake agreed. But part of him wondered if humanity was ready for this. They had always imagined finding other life in the universe. But finding it like this, with a species running for their lives, asking for help, that was different. Prepare the Pathfinder, Jake ordered. If we're going to meet them, we need our best ship. As the crew worked through the night, Jake looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, an alien fleet was waiting. They were desperate, maybe dangerous, but they had reached out to humanity for help. Tomorrow, everything would change. Humans would no longer be alone. They would learn they were part of something much bigger and much more dangerous than they had ever imagined. Kathrak stood on his bridge, looking at the image of the blue planet on his screen. In 2 days he would know if these humans could help, if they could save his people. If they couldn't, well, at least he had tried something different. The Astral Dawn and the human monitoring base both went quiet as their crews prepared. Neither side knew exactly what would happen when they met, but both knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The Pathfinder moved slowly through the asteroid belt, its engines running silent. Inside the ship, Captain Jake Morrison checked his equipment one more time. He had never been so nervous in his life. 30 minutes to the meeting point, announced his pilot, Dr. Monica Hayes. She was the best they had, a scientist who also knew how to fly. Still no sign of them. Paul Chen, the ship's engineer, looked up from his console. My readings are clean too. Either they're very well hidden, or they changed their minds. Jake walked to the observation window. The asteroid belt stretched out. Before them, rocks of all sizes floating in the darkness. Somewhere out there, alien ships were waiting. Captain, said Marine Commander Alex Rodriguez, checking his weapons. My team is ready, just in case things go wrong. Before Jake could respond, Paul shouted, I've got them. 3 ships coming. In fast, they're... Wow. The main screen lit up. 3 alien ships appeared, their design unlike anything humans had ever imagined. They were sleek and curved, with energy patterns dancing across their hulls. Even damaged, they looked incredibly advanced. Open a channel, Jake ordered. The alien face that appeared on the screen made everyone gasp. Kethrick had dark blue skin, with intricate patterns. His eyes were large and intelligent. When he spoke, a translator turned his words into English. Human vessel Pathfinder, I am Admiral Kethrak of the Zephyrian Fleet. You have our gratitude for responding. Admiral Kethrak, I'm Captain Jake Morrison. We're here to help if we can. What's your situation? Kethrak's expression became grim. We are being hunted. Our fleet is broken, our homeworld is destroyed, the enemy will find us soon. Dr. Monica Hayes leaned forward. May we see your technical specifications? Perhaps we can suggest modifications to help your ships. Kethrak looked surprised. You wish to review our technology? Your race is still primitive. Maybe so, Paul Chen interrupted. But sometimes different perspectives help. We've had to solve problems with limited resources all our lives. Kethrak hesitated, then nodded. Very well, we will share our data. Information flooded the Pathfinder's computers. Paul's eyes widened as he studied the alien technology. This is incredible, but I see some inefficiencies. Inefficiencies? Kethrak's advisor, Teven, sounded offended. Our technology has served us for millennia. I'm sure it has, Paul said respectfully. But look here. He pointed to his screen. Your shield generators use a lot of power. We could modify the energy distribution to increase efficiency by 30%. Tiven studied the human's suggestion. Her eyes widened. This could work. We never considered this approach. Monica joined the conversation. And your weapons, systems. You're using direct energy attacks, but the Vorath have adapted. What if we introduced biological countermeasures? Biological weapons? Kathrak asked. Not exactly, Monica explained. Think of them as targeted environmental changes. Earth has many extreme environments. We've learned how to adapt. Your enemy might not be so flexible. As the two species exchanged ideas, alarms suddenly blared on both ships. Paul's hands flew across his console. We've got incoming. 2 ships. Vorath design. Jake immediately contacted Kathrak. Admiral, we need to work together now. Kathrak nodded quickly. Agreed. My tactical officer will coordinate with yours. Alex Rodriguez stepped forward. We'll handle close defense. Our fighters are small but maneuverable. The battle was brief but intense. The Pathfinder's unconventional tactics confused the Vorath. Scouts. Human fighters darted between asteroids like insects, too small and quick for the enemy's heavy weapons. Meanwhile, the Zephyrian ships used their modified shields to deflect attacks more efficiently. They're retreating, Paul announced. The scouts are pulling back. Kathrak appeared on screen, his eyes wide with amazement. How did you do that? Your ships are so primitive, yet you fought like seasoned warriors. Jake smiled. We learn fast, and we don't follow traditional tactics. We can't afford to. This is remarkable, Tiven added. In all our centuries of warfare, we never thought to use such irregular combat methods. Monica leaned toward the screen. That's what happens when you're the underdog. You get creative, or you lose. The two fleets spent the next few hours sharing tactics and technology. The Zephyrians were amazed by human adaptability. Humans had developed dozens of ways to hide, fight, and survive against superior forces. The Zephyrians had relied on their advanced technology for so long, they had forgotten how to think creatively. Admiral Kathrak, Jake finally said, we'd like to propose something. Come to our system. Hide your fleet where our enemy won't find you. We'll work together to prepare for the larger battle. Kathrak consulted with his officers. The risk is great. If the enemy discovers we brought you into this war, they already know we exist, Alex pointed out. Those scouts saw us. The best. Defense now is a good offense, but we need time to prepare. Tiven spoke quietly in her own language to Kathrak. He nodded slowly, then turned back to the humans. Very well, Captain Morrison. We accept your invitation. Our fleet will follow you to Earth's system. May our combined strength be enough to face what comes. As the ships prepared to leave, Paul looked at the alien technology still displaying on his screens. You know what's amazing? They're so advanced, but they never thought of some basic solutions. Monica smiled. Sometimes being simple has its advantages. We see problems differently because we've had to struggle. Jake watched the alien ships form up alongside the Pathfinder. Admiral Kathrak, welcome to our solar system. Let's go home and figure out how to win this war. The combined fleet began their journey back to Earth. Humans and aliens working together for the first time. Neither knew if their alliance would be enough, but they knew they had learned something important. Sometimes the most advanced technology isn't the answer. Sometimes what you need is a fresh perspective, creative thinking, and the willingness to try something new. And sometimes the help you need comes from the most unexpected places. As the stars streamed past, both species began to plan. The real battle was still coming, but now they would face it together. President John Carter sat in the Situation Room deep beneath the White House. The room was full of his most trusted advisors, all staring at screens showing alien ships hiding among Earth's asteroids. How many people know about this? He asked. His Defense Secretary, Amy Johnson. Just our top military and science teams, Amy replied. We've kept it classified, but we can't hide it much longer. Dr. Richard Gray, the president's science advisor, leaned forward. Mr. President, these aliens are real, and they're asking for our help. This changes everything. Carter nodded slowly. What do they need? Time, mostly, Amy answered. Time to repair their ships. Time to plan. And they think our different approach to warfare might help them win. The president looked at the star maps on the wall. And if we don't help them, if this enemy finds them here, then the war comes to Earth anyway, said Dr. Gray, but without any allies. Carter made his decision. All right, we help them, but we do it smart. Start the Cosmic Defense Initiative immediately. Keep it secret from the public, but prepare our people. Meanwhile, Kate Sullivan stood in an asteroid-based workshop, working alongside the alien engineer Tuvok. Oil and metal shavings floated around them in zero gravity. They were building something no one had ever seen before. Your miniaturization techniques are fascinating, Tuvok said, manipulating a tiny device with tools that looked like they were made from light itself. We focused on making everything larger and more powerful. Kate smiled, welding two pieces together. We had to. Earth has limited resources. We learned to do more with less. Around them, human and Zephyrian workers moved like ants, building and upgrading ships. Human precision met alien power, creating something entirely new. Small human components powered by Zephyrian energy sources. Alien shields controlled by human computer systems. In another part of the asteroid, Marine General Ryan Adams watched, his soldiers training with Zephyrian warriors. The training was unlike anything he had ever seen. Again, he shouted, the enemy won't wait for you to get comfortable. His soldiers moved between obstacles, practicing combat maneuvers alongside tall, blue-skinned aliens. The Zephyrians were strong and fast, but they fought in straight lines following ancient patterns. Spread out, called Alex Rodriguez, the Marine commander. Use cover. Think like hunters, not warriors. Battle Commander McCren, the Zephyrian military leader, watched with fascination. Your soldiers move like water. They flow around obstacles instead of breaking through them. Sometimes you can't break through, Ryan explained. Sometimes you have to find another way. The training continued for weeks. Humans taught aliens about guerrilla warfare, quick strikes, and deception. Aliens taught humans about energy weapons, advanced shields, and coordinated fleet tactics. Dr. Sam Foster worked in a laboratory that seemed impossible. Part Earth technology, part alien science, all aimed at one goal, understanding the enemy. The Vorath use something called a psionic network, he explained to his team. Their minds are connected, that's how they coordinate so well. His assistant, Anne, looked at the data. So if we disrupt that connection, exactly, they become confused, disorganized. Sam pulled up more information. And the Shadowclaw Collective uses quantum entanglement for communications, instant connection across vast distances. Another scientist, Bobby, raised his hand. Can we block these signals? We're working on it, Sam said. The aliens never thought to defend against these tactics because their enemies never tried them. Working, day and night, the joint team developed countermeasures. Devices that could scramble psionic signals, systems that could disrupt quantum communications, weapons that their enemies had never faced before. In Earth's orbit, something incredible was taking shape. The fusion of human and alien technology created ships unlike anything the galaxy had seen, smaller than traditional Zephyrian vessels, but more versatile, more powerful than human ships but easier to maneuver. Captain Jennifer Lopez stood on the bridge of the prototype ship called Unity. Around her, human and alien crew members worked together smoothly. Engineering, are we ready for the test run? She asked. Ready, Captain, came the reply from both human and Zephyrian engineers. The Unity powered up its hybrid engines. Energy patterns danced across its hull as shields activated. Weapons systems came online, showing a mix of human particle beams and Zephyrian plasma cannons. She's beautiful, whispered the alien navigator, Sketh. She's more than that, Jennifer replied. She's hope. Back on Earth, President Carter addressed his secret council. How long until the enemy finds us? Our scouts estimate 2 weeks, Amy Johnson reported. Maybe less. And our preparations? Dr. Richard Gray pulled up displays showing their progress. We have 30 hybrid ships ready, another 50 in construction. Our defenses are positioned throughout the solar system. Human and Zephyrian crews are training together effectively. But is it enough? Carter asked. No one had an answer. They were about to face an enemy that had destroyed an entire civilization, an enemy with technology and numbers that far exceeded their combined forces. Yet something had changed. Humans were no longer alone, and aliens had learned to think differently. The combination had created innovations neither species could have achieved alone. Jake Morrison, now an admiral in the combined fleet, studied the tactical displays. "We can't win through strength alone," he told his Joint Command staff. "But we don't have to. We just need to make them think differently about fighting." Kithrak nodded in agreement. "Your species has taught us much about adaptability. Perhaps it is time we showed the enemy that war is not just about power." The preparations were nearly complete. Ships were ready, soldiers were trained. New weapons and countermeasures were in place. But most importantly, two species had learned to work together, combining their strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. As the days counted down to the expected enemy arrival, both humans and Zephyrians felt something they hadn't experienced in a long time: hope. Not because victory was certain, but because they were no longer facing the darkness alone. The stage was set. The alliance was ready. Now, they just had to survive what was coming. The alarms screamed across every ship in the solar system. Vorath dreadnoughts dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system, their massive forms blocking out the stars. Behind them came the sleek shadow ships of the Shadowclaw, collective, nearly invisible against the darkness of space. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Unity, watching as hundreds of enemy ships appeared on his screens. Next to him, Kithrak remained calm despite the overwhelming numbers. 230 enemy vessels, reported the tactical officer. "We have 80 ships ready for combat." "Then we use what we planned," Jake said firmly. "Lisa, deploy our special weapons. Ben, start the jamming protocols." Captain Lisa Park, now commanding the Communications Warfare Division, smiled grimly. "Already on it, sir. Their psionic network is about to get very confused." The first wave of Vorath ships charged forward, expecting to find a broken Zephyrian fleet hiding in fear. Instead, they found carefully placed minefields among the asteroids, automated defense platforms, and ships that moved unlike anything they had ever seen. "Launch. Fighters," ordered Colonel Ben Cross from his command ship. Small human fighters swarmed out like angry bees, their size making them impossible for Vorath weapons to target effectively. The Vorath commanders tried to coordinate their attack through their mental network, but Lisa's team had been busy. Electromagnetic pulses scrambled their psionic connections, leaving each ship to fight alone. "They're breaking formation," reported an excited human officer. "It's working." Meanwhile, Shadowclaw stealth ships tried to slip behind the joint fleet, using their quantum communications to coordinate. But Dr. Sam Foster's quantum jamming devices were ready. The invisible enemy ships suddenly appeared on every radar as their systems failed. "Shadowclaw vessels exposed in sectors 4 through 7, announced the scanner operator. "Perfect," Jake said. "Route all ships to intercept. Ben, your Special Forces team's ready?" "Marines are loaded and waiting," Ben confirmed. The battle spread across the solar system like wildfire. Human ships used Jupiter's magnetic field to hide, then ambushed Vorath dreadnoughts with surprise attacks. Zephyrian vessels, modified with human shield technology, withstood enemy fire better than ever before. Captain Jennifer Lopez commanded a squadron of hybrid ships, dancing through the asteroid belt like sharks hunting in familiar waters. Her crew, half human and half Zephyrian, worked together perfectly. "Enemy cruiser port side," called her gunner. "Target their weak spot just like we practiced," Jennifer ordered. The hybrid weapons found the gap in enemy shields that no Zephyrian weapon could have reached. The cruiser exploded in a brilliant flash, but the enemy kept coming. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more appeared. The joint fleet fought bravely, but numbers were starting to matter. On Earth, billions of people watched the battle through telescopes and monitors. For the first time, humanity saw they were not alone in the universe. They also saw their defenders fighting for their very survival. President John Carter addressed the world. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for our new allies. Today, humanity stands with the galaxy against tyranny. The broadcast reached soldiers and civilians alike. Morale soared, but the tactical situation remained desperate. "Admiral," Tiven reported from her station, "we're identifying the Shadowclaw command ship. It's maintaining position behind their main fleet." Jake and Kathrak exchanged glances. They had planned for this moment. "The quantum anchor," Kathrak said. "If we destroy it, their entire fleet loses coordination." "It's too well protected," Jake noted. "We need a special operation. Something they won't expect." Commander Alex Rodriguez stepped forward. "My Marines are ready, if we can get close enough." "It's a suicide mission," Jake said quietly. "Maybe," Alex replied with a grim smile. "But someone has to do it, and Marines don't leave anyone behind." With Kethrak's warrior Darath, Alex assembled a joint boarding team. They chose the smallest, fastest ship available, a modified human shuttle with Zephyrian stealth systems. "Good luck," Jake told them as they prepared to leave. "Don't need luck," Alex said. "We've got something better. We've got purpose." The small team navigated through the chaos of battle using debris and destroyed ships as cover. Their ship was so small and stealthy that enemy scanners missed them completely. "There it is," Darath pointed at their target. The Shadowclaw command ship was enormous, protected by layers of shields and fighter escorts. "Just like we trained," Alex reminded his team. "Fast and quiet." They attached to the enemy hull and began cutting through. Once inside, they moved through corridors filled with strange technology and confused defenders. The Shadowclaw had never faced boarding parties before. The battle outside raged on. Human creativity and Zephyrian technology were holding the line, but barely. Ships on both sides were falling like leaves in a storm. "Sir," called the communications officer, "we're losing contact with the boarding team." Jake watched the tactical display, seeing enemy ships converging on the command vessel. "Come on, Alex, come on!" Inside the Shadowclaw ship, Alex and his team fought their way to the quantum control center. Drath's warriors cleared the path while human Marines set explosive charges. "Almost done," Alex called over the radio. "Just need a few more." The transmission cut off as enemy reinforcements arrived. Alex made his choice quickly. "Go," he ordered. His team, "Get clear, I'll finish this." The explosion shook space itself. The Shadowclaw command ship cracked apart, its quantum anchor destroyed. Across the battlefield, enemy ships suddenly lost contact with each other. "Now," Jake commanded. "All ships, full assault." Without their coordination systems, the enemy fleet became a collection of individual ships, each fighting alone. The joint human Zephyrian fleet, still coordinated and working together, began to turn the tide. Ships that had been impossible to hit suddenly became vulnerable. Tactics that hadn't worked before now succeeded. The battle was far from over, but the balance had shifted. Jake looked at Kathrak. Both had lost good people today. Both knew more would die before this ended. But for the first time since the battle began, they had real hope. "For Alex," Jake said quietly. "For all our fallen," Kathrak replied, "and for victory." The destruction of the Shadowclaw command ship sent shockwaves through both enemy fleets. Without their quantum anchor, the Shadowclaw ships drifted helplessly, unable to coordinate or maintain their stealth systems. The Vorath, already confused by the psionic jamming, found themselves fighting a war they no longer understood. "All units execute Plan Omega," Jake commanded across all channels. "Show them what happens when you attack our home." The joint fleet moved like a single organism. Human ships used asteroid cover to launch surprise attacks. Zephyrian vessels powered through enemy lines with their enhanced shields. Together, they turned the tide completely. Captain Jennifer Lopez led her squadron in coordinated strikes that drove the remaining Shadowclaw ships toward Earth's sun. The intense heat and radiation finished what their weapons had started. "Enemy retreat in all sectors," reported the tactical officer. "The Vorath are falling back." Kathrak watched the enemy withdrawal with mixed emotions. They had won, but it Such cost. More than 20 of their ships were destroyed or heavily damaged. Hundreds of brave souls had died, including Alex Rodriguez. Admiral Cuthrack, came a message from a Vorath command ship. We acknowledge defeat. We request terms. Jake looked at his alien ally. Your decision, Cuthrack. They destroyed your world. Cuthrack considered for a long moment. Terms are simple. Withdraw from our territories. Return what you have taken. Never threaten peaceful species again, or face the combined might of our alliance. The Vorath commander hesitated, then agreed. One by one, enemy ships jumped away to faster-than-light speeds, leaving the solar system behind. When the last enemy vessel disappeared, silence fell across all frequencies. Then slowly, cheers began. Human and Zephyrian voices joined together in celebration, but the cheering stopped when they counted their losses. Alex Rodriguez was not the only hero who wouldn't be coming home. Many brave souls from both species had given everything for victory. On Earth's moon, a ceremony honored all who fought and died. President Amy Johnson, who had taken office after President Carter died in a final assault on the Vorath flagship, spoke to a crowd of humans and aliens. We have learned that in the darkness of space we are not alone. We have found friends, allies and brothers in arms. Their courage inspired us. Our creativity helped them. Together we achieved the impossible. Cuthrack stood beside her, his blue skin marked with scars from battle. The Zephyrian people owe a debt that can never be repaid. You opened your home to us. You shared your knowledge. You fought for us as if we were family. The ceremony ended with a promise. Earth would join the Galactic Alliance. Technology and knowledge would be shared freely. Never again would any species face extinction alone. 6 months later, Earth had transformed. Alien technology combined with human innovation had brought changes once thought impossible. Clean energy powered every city. Diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries were cured with Zephyrian medical knowledge. Space travel became as common as air travel had been. Captain Jennifer Lopez became Earth's first ambassador to the galaxy. She traveled between star systems representing humanity in a universe that had become much larger and more welcoming. Admiral Jake Morrison continued to command the Joint Fleet, now called the Unity Force. Former enemies sought to join, impressed by what cooperation could achieve. The Unity Force became the model for galactic peacekeeping. Dr. Richard Gray led the scientific exchange program. Human universities now taught alien mathematics. Zephyrian schools included Earth history in their curriculum. Children of both species played together, learning that diversity made them stronger. Cuthrack, promoted to Supreme Admiral of the Galactic Alliance Defense Force, established a permanent partnership between humans and Zephyrians. What had begun as a desperate plea for help had become a friendship that changed the galaxy. 5 years after the battle, Captain Ben Cross commanded the newly built Pathfinder II. The ship was a marvel of combined technology, powerful enough to explore the farthest reaches of space, versatile enough to handle any challenge. On a routine patrol at the edge of Galactic Alliance space, Ben received a familiar signal, a distress call, not in standard galactic languages, but in mathematical sequences, a species reaching out for help. Captain, reported the communications officer, we're receiving coordinates and tactical data. They're under attack. Ben smiled, remembering how Jake had made the same decision years ago. Set course for their position, full speed, and prepare. A message. What message, sir? Tell them help is coming. Tell them they're not alone anymore. As the Pathfinder II jumped to faster-than-light speed, Ben reflected on how much had changed. Earth was no longer a primitive world hiding in the darkness. Humanity had become protectors, teachers, and explorers. The decision to help a desperate, alien fleet had transformed not just Earth, but the entire galaxy. It proved that strength came not from technology or numbers, but from the willingness to help others, even strangers. In the far reaches of space, another species broadcast their desperate plea. They didn't know that humanity had been there once, frightened and uncertain. They didn't know about the alliance that had formed, the battles won, or the peace that followed, but they would learn. Because now, there were protectors in the galaxy, species that had learned that helping others was the greatest strength of all. The Unity Force responded to distress calls across the stars. Human creativity and alien wisdom spread through the galaxy like seeds on the wind. What had started as one species crying for help became a network of mutual support spanning thousands of worlds. On Earth, children looked up at the stars with wonder, knowing that friends lived among them. On alien worlds, young beings learned about a small blue planet where primitive creatures had changed the course of galactic history. The future was uncertain, but it was bright, because when humanity had been given the choice between safety and service, between isolation and alliance, they had chosen to help, and that choice had made all the difference.